Hi, my name is Shota.
And I'm Amber.
And welcome to the Kotatsu Club Podcast,
where we talk about all things Japanese language and other stuff too.
Uh-huh.
And lately I feel like it's more other stuff too.
Yeah, well, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, we still talk about Japan and Japanese language and stuff like that, so it's okay. So, how are ya?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Very good. Very good.
Long week of renewing my visa.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
How's it going with that?
It's going. I'm halfway through my paperwork quest. So if you've ever had a visa in Japan, you know about the paperwork quest. It's not just filling out. Yeah, it's not just filling out paperwork. You actually have to go through steps to get the paperwork. Almost like a video game quest. So a
video game quest.
Yeah, for example, there's this one document I have to get. So I have to first renew my number card, and then once I get my number card, then I can go to the konbini and print out the paperwork there.
Okay.
And then once I print out the paperwork, I can go to my company and get it stamped, and then it'll be ready for submitted. So there's a 3-step process with each paperwork, which was a culture shock for me.
Yeah.
Living in Japan, just all of the paperwork all the time.
Yeah, I guess not just for visa process, but I guess paperwork in general.
In
right?
general, yeah, the paperwork is kind of crazy. There was actually one time recently where I had, I'm applying for a credit card, and I wasn't...
You don't have a credit card?
It's really hard to get a credit card as a foreigner in Japan.
Really?
Really hard. I still don't have one because it's so hard and there's so much paperwork.
I did not know that.
Oh my god, yeah. So I was applying for the Rakuten card, which is apparently the easiest credit card to apply for. And I couldn't apply for it online because my name, with the katakana and stuff, it just wasn't accepting the way that I tried every which way to type in my name. It was just dame, dame, dame. So anyway, there's another way that you can do it if it's too dame, the website, which is they'll send the paperwork to your house, and then you can fill out the paperwork and mail it to them, old school style.
Why do they just if you work for Rakuten and if you're watching this, you can probably answer this question, but why can't you just make it so that it accepts foreign names in katakana or even alphabet,
right?
You know, how hard is that?
Yeah, it should. But
so if you work at Rakuten or a Mitsubishi UFJ or something like that,
you'll
work
get some
on
money.
that. Yeah,
I will use my credit card. Don't worry.
It's like they don't want your money.
I know, right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're gonna want your foreign money. But...
Yeah. Anyways, sorry.
Anyway. Yeah, so I'm applying for the credit card, and so they sent it to my house, and so the guy needed my ID. He needs to check my ID to give me the paperwork.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, blah, blah, blah. Here's my Zaidio card. My ultimate, official Japanese residence card. He's like, your name on the form is in katakana, and your name is in English on the Zaidio card, so I can't accept it. And I was like, I have, my bank book has my name in katakana. I can show you my bank book, my bank card. I was like, I can show you my insurance card. And he was just like... And once you hear that in Japanese, you're done. You're done.
Hell,
So
cannot be done.
And I didn't get the paper.
Really?
So I still have not been able to get a credit card.
Wait, wait.
On the website, you can only put your name in katakana, so I couldn't apply for my name in English like it is on my Zaidio card. There's no way around it.
Okay, so you needed some form of ID to prove that you're you.
Yeah.
And you brought Zaidio card, which is the
ID.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's bizarre.
Yeah. So those kind of culture shocks where the rules are so strict and so you have to be so precise with everything, or else sometimes you hit a wall where you actually can't achieve the thing. It becomes impossible. That's kind of a culture shock.
Functioning society.
Yeah. It's so strict that it's almost you can't get what you're trying to do.
That is so weird though.
But that's a culture shock.
I guess better question is, how do people do it?
Yeah, right? Well, I'm hoping next round of visa I'll get more than 1 year, because if I get more than 1 year, then I can apply for a credit card just through my Yucho bank account.
So it's a matter of time, the length of your visa.
Yeah, if your visa is only 1 year, you can't apply for a credit card.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why, but you can't.
Because there's but the concept of credit score doesn't exist in Japan,
right.
So I don't see why not.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what the issue is. Yeah.
But hopefully the visa gods will be nice to me this time, and I'll get a 3-year visa or a 5-year visa. I asked for 5 years. We'll see. And I can just get a normal credit card like a normal person.
Yeah.
But it's been 4 years with no credit card, and it's been rough. My solution was to get a Wise card, so it's kind of like a cash card that I can just reload.
Yeah.
Which has been useful, like when I want to order things on Amazon. So that would be my advice.
Do you get points for that? For like Wise cards and stuff like that?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
But it's at least I have something that I can buy things online.
True.
Anyway, yeah.
Wow.
So that's my like biggest culture shocks right now in Japan that I could think of. I have other ones that we'll talk about later, but I want to hear some of your culture shocks.
As an adult, I guess like culture shocks like that. I guess for me, so
you moved to the U.S. as a teenager, so it's a little different experience.
I was what, like 17, something like that. It's not gonna be as mature sounding as yours.
Not about paperwork. Quest.
So to explain a little bit of background, as soon as I landed in the States, Michigan to be specific, I played football because I lived in a like foster care home,
which is a whole story on its own that we're gonna have to cover later.
But yeah, you know that I did. They were like shocked.
Wait, I feel like you should explain that now, because like if I was watching this, I'd be so. What does he mean he's in foster? That's like shocking.
No. Like I wasn't a foster child or anything. I wasn't in the foster system.
Okay.
But since when I first lived in the States, I spoke zero English.
Yeah.
I mean zero English.
Okay.
So like whenever people talk to me, I didn't understand them like at all, and they couldn't understand.
That's amazing.
Me at all. Like zero communication.
Wow.
And keep in mind, the time was 2010. So internet was a thing, of course. Internet was a thing, but then rural Michigan, you still had to like.
Damn, yeah.
Like
you
work your way
like
around to get internet access. So no Google Translation, no nothing. So like I feel their pain now, right? Because I would do the same thing, but like they're like we don't know what to do with this child. So like what they did? They sent me to a football practice.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So
wait, so how'd you get into foster care?
Okay, so in order for you to do a high school exchange, you have to take this test. I forgot the name of it. It's like a TOEIC, TOEFL kind of deal.
It's like
but
an
like
English test.
English efficiency test kind of thing. But it's for like high schoolers, right? I completely failed at that. Yeah. And but then so I scored good enough so that I was able to make it to the program. Okay. But not enough that no high school can take me in. Okay. And the only area that was available with my English level was in this like specific area in Michigan. Okay. And there were no like host families available. So that's why.
So they just stuck you in a foster home.
Yeah.
That sounds very crazy to like me, to be honest.
At that time, I didn't think anything of it. I was like, oh, okay, you know, like I'll be living with like a bunch of other kids, you know, hell yeah.
Did you know beforehand, like, that you were getting placed in a foster home?
Okay, so it wasn't foster home before, but then as I was arriving, they were like registering themselves to be one. Okay. So I didn't know. What I was getting myself into.
So you just thought you were going with a host family.
Yeah.
And then it like turned into a foster family.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a dairy farm. You know?
Oh wow.
Yeah. They had
That's cool.
3 children on their own. Yeah. I worked out on a dairy farm. You know,
so
I used to milk
cows. Did they make you work on the farm?
Yeah. Well, it didn't make me, but then you know, I didn't feel like obligated. But then you know, it was fun. You know?
It's a cool experience. Farm stay.
You know, getting.
Wow.
Yeah, getting to work on a farm, you know?
You definitely know, like, more about the U.S. than I do living... Like,
maybe.
Yeah, like, you're in Michigan, like, milking cows.
Yeah. Yeah, so anyways, so that's how I got into this, like, high school football program. Okay. You know, I'm, like, what? Like, semi-athletic, you know, built. So, you know, I was... I played...
In 17, you were athletic, like, in Japan before you came to the U.S.?
Yeah. I played competitive tennis for 6 years, so and I was in shape. Okay. And so I played football. I played outside linebacker. But okay, so going back to culture shock. Yeah. So when you play football, you know, you talk to the boys in the locker room, and then It was crazy.
With problematic
world.
language.
Yeah, with problematic language. So like, yeah,
language.
like I learned to swear before anything,
Your first words were
Yeah.
beep.
Yeah. No, but I'm serious. That's why, like, I bet I can like cuss somebody out better than you.
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. I believe that.
Because of that. But anyways, the interesting topic in the locker room was junk size, obviously, right? Because when you're
Sounds
17,
like a classic 17-year-old boy topic. Yeah.
And then I was very shocked that people say stuff like, "Oh, you got a small dick, man," Oh, sorry. Like
a small thing,
like, "Oh, your thing's so small." Nah, man, like your thing's smaller. And I'm like, keep in mind, I'm from Japan, so like I'm naked all the time in front of like other. Okay,
you're gonna have to describe that.
Okay, that came out wrong.
So like, naked. Yeah, everyone's just naked in Japan.
Kind of like how it is in Europe. So bathing together is very common in Japan.
Yeah.
So
onsen culture.
Hot springs, sento. So like, I don't have any problem being naked in front of like other guys, right?
Yeah.
And it's just not a big deal in Japan.
Yeah.
But in the US, you don't really like see other guys. Okay,
right.
It's coming out weird, but but
like,
that's how it is, right?
We don't have that culture of like bathing with your friends in the US. It would be weird.
So I was like really shocked to find out that like they covered their junk when they're like showering.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're just like out there like washing your hands.
Yeah. I'm just like doing my thing, like everything exposed, not a problem. But like, these guys were like, it's like turning their back, and I was like, what are you doing, man? Like, why are you being weird? In the bathroom, it's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
When they, pee, it's like same thing.
Okay. I wouldn't know anything about this.
Right. They do.
But okay.
And I'm like, why? I'm like, just like letting it go. It's not a big deal. Like we're the same.
It's like culture difference
gender.
there.
It's like So in Japan, you don't talk about it. Okay. Because I know where I stand in the size spectrum. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so, like,
you've seen your friends.
Yeah, you've seen your friends.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like nobody's like, yo, you got a small thing, man.
Yeah. To like tease each other.
Yeah, to tease each other
in a loving way.
Yeah.
But so, is there an equivalent like that in Japan? Like, what do the 17-year-old boys like tease each other about in a loving way in Japan?
I think it's mostly the same thing.
Yeah.
But junk size.
Okay.
I don't know.
Like, 例えば? Like, oh, you can't get with girls, or I don't know, like what?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We talk about stuff like that, mostly girls.
And this is again 17-year-old boys combo, so it will be problematic. That's just any culture is the same.
Yeah.
17-year-old boys.
Like I don't know, when you have like younger female teachers. That's boys talk about them, obviously, boys talk about girls,
So
sports.
There's nothing like that they tease each other about that would be like kind of similar.
Yeah, maybe like what, like height.
Oh, really?
Or, when you're like younger, maybe like when you're 17, you're pretty much an adult, right? Physically.
Yeah.
But when you're younger, like maybe when you're in like a middle school, between the age of like 12 to maybe like 14, 15, people talk about like each other's like physical development. So like you ain't even got like no
chest
like
hair.
Chest. Okay, so we're Asian, so like we don't. Not a lot of us have chest hair, but like like you.
Doesn't say that. Downstairs hair.
Downstairs hair.
Be careful. We're going to get demonetized before we even get any followers.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Like that.
So this reminds me of a, I guess, reel or TikTok that I've seen by a Japanese female creator who went to do study abroad in the US. And she said one of the positive culture shocks that she had in the US is that people don't talk about your body size, like if you're getting fat or something.
Right.
So yeah, that was just interesting for me to hear. That
Yeah.
like, in Japan, it's like kind of normal to do.
It's funny because I had the same thing. I felt a lot less self-conscious about the things that I don't like about my body, because I think the one prominent example would be, so I sweat a lot for a Japanese person, because like, you know, in Japan it's like hot out, and you know how Japanese people
don't really
sweat.
Yeah.
So I think growing up, that was like my like biggest insecurity. You know what I mean? My dad was the same way, you know, and my brother was the same way.
Okay.
So like I knew like it was coming for me.
Yeah.
But you know, like in America, like everybody like sweaty. You know?
Yeah,
like, they
it's
don't
a sweaty
care.
country.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they've got like stronger like a deodorant and stuff like that.
So you can buy deodorant.
Yeah. So like I just like feel like I fit in.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
I think you do. You fit in.
Yeah, and I did.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just felt this sense of liberty. You know what I mean?
I hear that a lot from Japanese people who go live in the US. Like they're like, it just feels a little more relaxing in like daily life, where you can like, you don't constantly have to like be on guard about like, omeiwaku kakenai yo.
Yeah.
So, and I can definitely understand how people feel that way, because you do have to like, Japan is a more, what do you call it, collectivist society. So you do always have to be aware about how you're affecting the people around you, which I really personally like. That's one of the reasons why I love living here. Right. But it does come at the cost of it could be a little stressful for you at times. Like you have to be conscious about the sound of your voice and how loud it is, and like where you're putting your legs when you're sitting on the train, and like constantly being on alert like that could be a little stressful. So I can see why when Japanese people move to the US, maybe they can feel a little more like tuny and like relaxed. And
Especially like it's like big taboo to talk about like physical characteristics, mostly like
in the US.
In the US.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was a culture shock. For sure. Because, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, it's, like, pretty common for, like, a Japanese guys to, like, walk down the street and, like, go, like, oh, you know...
That guy's fat.
Yeah, that guy's fat, or, like, she's fat, or, you know... Yeah. Like, I guess, like, in Eastern Asian countries, like, we can be, like, pretty harsh and, like, blunt and judgmental about, body characteristics. So, yeah, I think that's, like, a really one good... like a positive culture shock that I experienced in America as well. Yeah.
I've had a lot of positive culture shocks in Japan. Sometimes my speaking breaks. So something like a small culture shock is when you go to watch a movie in the movie theater that everyone like stays and watches the credits and like silently, and like no one. Like in the US, as soon as the movie's over, everyone leaves. But in Japan, they see it as kind of respectful. Like you're watching all the names come up on the screen.
Well, why do you think that is, though? Why do you think they do that? Or...
I think it's like respectful for the people who created it. Like they put their names there for a reason. Like you know, like they want the credit. They did all this hard work, and like in Japan, we sit there and like just read the name silently at the end of the movie.
I've always wondered that.
Yeah.
Like why. I thought it was because, you know, maybe some people want to, like, stay and really, like, let that sink in, you know, and we don't want to, like, disturb others by, like, standing up and, like, leaving and, like, making a sound. I don't know.
Could be that.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, I wonder. But that was just a culture shock that I experienced.
What else?
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize, like, my phone was on... had the microphone on. It was just recording everything we were saying.
Oh my god.
Anyway.
I thought you had like a long list.
No, it's not this long. Smoking indoors was a negative culture shock for me. So in the US, that's illegal.
Right.
And it has been since like the 90s. But yeah, when I first came to Japan as a tourist, I was like hungry and tired. And like at the time I was like vegan. So I like found this Indian restaurant. And I was like, great, I'm going to get some curry. And I go in there and like people are smoking in there. And it wasn't until after I ordered my food that they started smoking. And I was like shocked that they were smoking indoors. I was like, we're all gonna die. It's just like I couldn't taste my food because the smell of tobacco was just like so strong. I was like, sucks. Yeah. Sorry, just Beep out my cursing. I don't usually curse. I don't know what you brought out in me. But anyway, yeah, so the smoking indoors is hard to get used to. And just how many people smoke here. So I think in the US specifically, maybe in the 90s and 80s, there was such a hard campaign against smoking. Like they would show us like these terrifying ads on TV about like people with like black lungs and like suffering. And we would be like, I'm not going to do that. So smoking just really isn't a common thing in the US. But in Japan, like every time walking outside, I'm smelling cigarette smoke. And like it's hard for me to get used to be honest, even like still.
Smoking is a big thing. And believe it or not, it's a lot less common now than when I was growing up. Well, I guess I grew up in the countryside, so like that's the one contributing factor as well. But in a city, like because I feel the opposite. I barely see anybody smoking.
Oh my god,
you know what I mean?
Maybe I'm hyper aware of it.
But compared to America, yes, there are a lot of smokers out here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely like hard because I like walk in the park and I'm like, fresh air. Oh wait, no, it's tobacco. Damn it.
Yeah, the electric cigarette.
Yeah.
Is I think it's now more popular.
Yeah.
Option now, and it doesn't smell as bad. Some people would say.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really like produce as much smoke as they smoke, so that's why I don't know, maybe it's still like considered somewhat acceptable to like smoke in public or like to smoke in general. I think in Europe it's the same way.
It's the same in Europe.
When I went to the UK, I've noticed like a lot of people just like casually smoke. Yeah,
I think in the US too they banned it from being in like films and TV. So like it's no longer like looked at as cool. It's like looked at as kind of annoying. Yeah,
it's like, you know how, I think it was Germany, but like in Germany, so like junk food ads are banned. So it's like...
That's, I mean, that's just as toxic, probably. Yeah. So that was one of my negative culture shocks was the tobacco thing, especially the indoor smoking. Like, the paperwork, I already said that. I mean, positive culture shocks, I don't know if I have any, like, groundbreaking ones. I'd feel like mine are, like, the peaceful train rides were, like, nice compared to the New York City train rides. I can't go back to New York City trains after trains. What else is positive culture shock? I can't think of any right now, but it's okay, because I think we should probably go on to the news story.
Yeah.
Okay, so news segment.
Yep.
If you're new here, every week, Shota reads a news article in simple Japanese, and we see how much you guys and how much I can retain. So I feel like something I was thinking about recently, I think it's hard for me to switch from Japanese to English, and I feel English to Japanese. So I feel like I'm still like changing my brain from English to Japanese when you're halfway through reading the article. Like the Japanese doesn't start kicking in.
Okay.
So maybe we should warm up somehow.
Warm up? Okay.
Let me just read some.
I'll let you warm up.
You get your stuff together. I'm gonna practice in my head.
Are you warming up? Okay.
Yeah. Just reading some kanji. Okay. I'm probably not warmed up, but let's start anyway.
Does it like take your like full focus to understand, or are you just kind of like hearing it and then?
It takes my full focus to understand if I'm thinking in English, because I have to like right now we've been talking in English all day, so I have to really focus to pick up the Japanese. I can jump into reading Japanese fine, but when it comes to listening, it takes a little calibration. But let's try it anyway.
Ready?
行こう。
じゃあ行きましょう。できます。円安の影響で多くの若い日本人がワーキングホリデーで海外に出て高賃金を求めています。特にオーストラリアが人気で、同国での日本人ワーキングホリデー者数は過去最高です。オーストラリアの最低時給は7月から24オーストラリアドル、約16米ドルに上昇し、日本の全国平均の 2.5 倍です。25歳の京太郎さんはシドニーで建物の解体作業をしており、時給35オーストラリアドル、 約23米ドルで月に約4500米ドル稼ぎ3000米ドル以上貯金できます。一方で希望する仕事に就くのが難しい人もいます。京都の大学生、遠藤夏樹さんはカフェで働きたいと希望していますが、まだ良い返事をもらっていません。やむを得ず焼き鳥店でパートを始めましたが、収入の大部分は家賃に消えています。メルボルン大学の大石奈々准教授は、特に医療や建設業の仕事は良い賃金が期待できますが、農場での収穫作業やレストランのサービス業では最低賃金以下のケースもあると指摘しています。また、英語が話せないために相談相手がいない人もいるため、十分に言語を学び、ネットワークを築くことが重要だとアドバイスしています。以上です。わかりましたか？
わかりましたかけど、I think there's definitely some words I didn't know. Like I think you were talking about the Australian dollar, maybe?
Yep.
So I didn't know the word for that, but I could get it from the bunmyaku. Okay, so this is what I think. So
yeah, tell me what you thought.
This is what I think.
Okay.
What I got. So for young Japanese people who are going to do the working holiday visa,
right?
Is there someone doing coaching them?
Ooh.
No. Okay.
I know where you got that.
The coaching.
But no.
Okay. All right. Well, this is what I got so far.
Okay.
So I think that you're talking about so the Australian dollar, the yen being weak compared to the Australian dollar.
Yep.
And it seems that like for young Japanese people who want to go do working holiday visa in Australia, maybe some of them are having a hard time getting the part-time job they want.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because like, they haven't heard this guy. He hasn't heard a response. He wants to do yakitori-san. No. Okay.
Keep going.
Okay. Well, they're having a hard time getting the part-time job they want. Something about like English studying. Like, is their English good enough? I don't know. Okay, that's what I got. Let us know.
I think you're like getting the main point,
the gist.
And then I think you were able to understand maybe like 5 to 10% more than you were gonna be able to like connect all the dots and like pretty much understand the gist of it. Okay, so to explain what that was about, so you got that part right. So like because of the weak yen, a lot of Japanese young people are trying to do working holiday.
Yeah.
And Australia is like the most popular working holiday destination, and number is staggering, right?
Yeah.
And then because in Australia, from July, the minimum wage became 24 Australian dollars.
Wow.
And that's approximately 16 USD. Right?
Yeah.
It's been raised. That's 2.5 times of what it is in Japan.
Wow.
So 25 years old, Mr. Kyotaro-san works in Sydney as a construction worker. 建物の解体作業. So like he's deconstructing buildings.
Yeah.
And then he makes 35 Australian dollars, which is 25 USD equivalent in a month, and then he makes 4,500 USD, and then he saves 3,000 out of those 4,500.
How?
USD.
How? Isn't living in Australia expensive?
Maybe. I don't know how he does it, but maybe he lives.
He must be like living in a share house.
Yeah, something like that. You know, maybe like
he's scraping by.
Yeah.
But okay, this is a strategy.
Yeah, but on the other hand, 一方で. That's a good vocabulary.
Yeah, that is a good one.
That's on the other hand. There are a lot of people that are having hard time finding their ideal job as well.
Yeah.
For example, 京都の大学生.
Yeah.
So a college student from Kyoto, 遠藤夏樹さん. He's trying to work at a cafe. He wants to work at a cafe, but he hasn't received any good response from any of them. まだ良い返事をもらっていません. 返事 means respond, right? And then やむを得ず, which means しょうがない, basically. That's a fancy way to say しょうがない.
Wait, where is that?
Right there. Yamuezu.
Yamuezu. Oh, that's a new word for me.
Yeah, that's a hard one. But yamuezu
Yamuezu.
means shoganai. Shoganai means it can't be helped. Like, yeah, it is what it is. So,
Yakitori.
for the time
the
being,
yakitori-san.
Mr. Endo works at a yakitori restaurant part-time. But then he doesn't make a lot of money. A lot of his income will go to his rent. So he hasn't been able to successfully saving up his money as much as Kyotaro.
I see.
Right. And then this professor, Oishi Nana Junkyoju from Melbourne, University of Melbourne, she advises that especially for medical and construction field, you expect very good wage. But for like farming and like restaurants and stuff like that, sometimes like they give you like below minimum wage. So if you're not capable of like holding a conversation, if your language proficiency is not enough, then you should do that first and like build network first. That's what she advises, and that's pretty much the gist of the article.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
The Japan yen right now. We're filming this in 2024. It is not looking good for us.
Yeah, it's like 161 yen
if
to
you live
$1.
in Japan and you work in Japan, it is slightly rough if you want to go overseas. Like, I'm kind of dying to go on an overseas, like, kaigai ryoko shitai. But I make Japanese yen, so the countries I can visit are very limited currently.
Yeah.
Like if I went to Europe, it would cost probably like
twice as much.
Yeah, twice, literally. Even 3 times as much right now. So I can't do that at the moment. I hope it goes up. Do you think it's gonna like how much longer? Like it's just gonna be.
Well, it's getting worse and worse, and like I don't think Japanese economy is gonna be like. But then at the same time, like it corresponds with like how the national banks do like their what is it called? I don't know how the finance works, but then
we're fine by the way.
Fine.
Like in Japan, we're fine. Like we don't feel it living here, but it's just if we want to go overseas, that's when it's
especially like when like inflation is not like hitting us as hard as like how it is in like North America.
No, oh my god!
So like things are like pretty cheap here. So like
the cost of living is so much cheaper here.
Yeah.
You can get your salary takes you so much further here than it would in the US.
True.
For sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good time for you guys to come travel to Japan. Take advantage of it while it's happening.
Especially if you make Australian dollars.
Yeah, if you're Australian, come to Japan.
It's gonna stretch so far.
So far.
Yeah.
So. Okay. Yeah, I think this is super interesting.
So yeah, they're literally like going over there to make money. So okay, this was actually a longer article, right? So this Kyotaro person, he's actually a hairdresser. He's not a construction worker, but he works in construction in Australia so that he can make money, the very strong Australian dollar.
Yeah,
and he's gonna take it back to Japan, and then he's gonna wanna open up his own hair salon. That was the whole article.
Maybe I should go work in the US for a little bit and come back here. Honestly, though, when I had my savings from my US job, that's how I was able to pay for my like language school for a year and a half. I was able to like live here for like a year and a half without like I worked part-time, but like just on a part-time salary and like live a normal life because the savings stretched far. But they're all gone now, so now I'm just on my Japanese.
You know the best situation you can like put yourself in is like to have like remote work that earns you USD or like Euro. Even better, you know, in Japan.
Yeah,
right?
Live here.
Because you're gonna feel rich, right?
For sure.
So
let's look at some vocabulary from here. So I'm gonna say the words that I didn't know were yamu-ezu. So shogunai. I didn't know that. I know that kanji. It doesn't mean like profit.
I don't actually know. I just know like as a whole like a phrasal. It's not a phrasal verb. What is it called? It's like
just a phrase.
Yeah, just a phrase. So yamu-ezu basically means like not by choice, but like because I had to, you know, 仕方なく
Yamu is
しょうがなく something like that.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
a good one. Ippo, I did know ippo, but I think it's maybe an N2 word. We learn it as a grammar point, actually. We don't learn it as a vocabulary word.
So when you're like making a comparison, because you know Kyotaro's case, it's a case about like something that's working, and 一方で, but like on the other hand, in comparison, you know, there are like some people that are, you know, that are not doing so well. So
yeah,
I think that's like a really good grammar point to remember.
Yeah, for sure. Another word, so this word 収入 means
収入,
income. We learn usually 給料.
給料.
So I think maybe people won't know this
So
収入.
給料 is it's like reoccurring salary. So like what you get from your employer.
Yeah.
収入 is an umbrella term that covers, it's just like income in general.
Okay.
So like, I don't know, like stock dividend, your salary.
Yeah, so maybe income versus salary, right? This
Yeah,
is more
sure.
income and
Yeah.
給料 is more salary.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. I actually didn't know that. I just knew them both as like income and salary, so I didn't know the difference between them. I thought this was maybe more of a like fancy word.
So if you're not sure which one to use, you know, 収入, use 収入 because you know that covers both.
It's more umbrella. Yeah. Okay, cool. And I think I knew all of the other words.
Really?
It was just
Really?
Yeah, I don't see any other word that I do not know.
指摘? 指摘しています.
I guess I didn't know that one either. So this one's like point or a point.
Yep.
And then teki.
So 指摘する is to point out. So this professor is pointing out that if your English ability is not enough or lacking, you should learn the language and network first before you come here. So she's pointing that out. 指摘している.
Oh, okay, that's a useful word. 指摘してる. Okay, yeah, I think maybe there's not any other difference. Oh, maybe this one. 集合作業?
Or 収穫作業. So harvesting. So 農場での収穫作業.
So on a farm, harvesting
Right,
on a farm.
harvesting labor. So 作業 means like
Business.
labor. Yeah.
Occupation.
Anything else?
I think that's it.
円安 on the top.
I think that's わかりやすい.
Right.
And yen.
円安い.
安い.
So
yeah.
cheap yen. What's the
東京
antonym of that?
I would guess.
Yeah.
円安. 円高.
正解。円高?
円高.
円高.
Okay, okay.
円安。
So then that could. Okay.
円高。
なるほどね。
ドル安。ドル高。
Working holiday.
Working holiday.
This is like 家賃の.
高賃金. 賃金 means wage. So it's just like a fancy...
And that's where I thought you were saying 高賃金. 高賃金. Okay. So I'm gonna guess. Okay, so I know this chin from yachin.
Yeah.
Yachin no chin. And ko, I know. Tai, taka.
Right.
Kin, money. So
Yeah.
high rent money.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you study kanji, you can figure out the meaning of words you don't know.
Yeah.
It's highly recommended.
Highly beneficial to learn kanji because of this.
Yeah. But again, if I'm listening to Shota like say the article and like not reading it, I'm gonna miss out on that meaning because I don't see the kanji.
But yeah, like I said, like from the sound of it, like you are like understanding the bits, and I think you need to be able to understand maybe like 5 to 10% more to like glue them all together, so that you can vaguely guess like what the context is.
For sure, that's definitely.
How'd you do?
Yeah. Let us know in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're not watching this on YouTube and you're watching this on one of the other podcast platforms, write us an email because we want to hear it. We want to hear what you guys think.
Yeah.
Speaking of emails, let's go into our inbox and see what question of the day we have.
Sounds good.
So Kathy says,
Kathy
is
says,
over-tourism in Japan really that bad right now? And should I wait to plan my trip until it's less bad?
No.
No. Why do you say no? Because it is a buzz thing right now, right? It's a big topic, I think.
Oh, wait, hold on. What was the question?
So she wants to know if she should hold off on planning her trip until
no.
Yeah, definitely don't do that.
Yeah, because yen's cheap.
The yen is so cheap right now, so it's like a good time to come. That's probably why a lot of people are coming.
Yeah.
But if you're worried about places being crowded, then maybe just go to the less crowded places.
That's it, yeah.
It's pretty easy.
It's just, Japan is just not that crowded.
Yeah.
Some places are.
Like, if
That's
you're going to
it.
go to Kyoto,
Yeah.
like, it's going to be crowded. If you're going to come to Tokyo, it's going to be crowded. But even if you come to Tokyo and you go to Kyoto, if you don't go to the major tourist areas in those cities, you can still have, like, a quiet, peaceful time.
Yeah.
Like, if you come to Tokyo neighborhoods that aren't, like, Shibuya, like, you can enjoy a peaceful, quiet time, so...
Yeah, like where I live, it's, like, pretty quiet,
Yeah.
you know? Where you live, I'm not gonna say where that is, but, like...
Please don't. But yeah,
It's
there's
pretty
also
quiet.
like, even not where we live, like there's a really cool town in Tokyo that looks like a little Edo town, and there's like a temple, and there's all people selling street food and like dango and stuff. And like I went there, no one was there, and I like haven't heard of it before. I don't think the internet has discovered it yet. I'm gonna post a reel about it. I've like filmed a reel about it. I actually did see one other creator post about it recently. I was so mad that I like waited so long to edit my reel. But if you are curious about that, make sure to follow me on Instagram, AmberRose_O. But yeah, I think over tourism, I feel like also we just came from COVID, right? Where we had 0 tourists.
True.
So we went from 0 tourists to like an explosion of tourists. And it's the same numbers as like 2019 before the pandemic. Right?
It's actually more than that now.
Oh, it's more than that. Okay.
But I mean, slightly more.
Slightly more.
Yeah.
Okay.
But still, like...
But I think
you
we
don't
feel
wanna...
it more, right? Because we went from 0 to like...
Oh, yeah.
So,
100%.
Yeah.
But then, it's just... Say Japan is going through over-tourism. Sure. It's just not gonna get any better.
Yeah.
I feel as the market grows bigger, then, you know, us content creators are covering more stuff. Which means, you know, the content is delivered to more people, and it's going to attract more people into Japan. So, if anything, you should come sooner than later. So, do not wait, because it's just my prediction, but I think Japan is going to get more popular and popular for, like, the next few years at least. So, I don't know how old you are, but I think if you want to come to Japan, you should do it now.
Yeah, I agree. Do it now. Also, like, we don't know when the yen's gonna go back up.
True.
So, like, definitely take advantage of how cheap it is. If you're worried about, like, the over-tourism thing, I think also maybe some people, like, they don't want to be part of the problem. So if they, like, see that there's a problem.
Sure. Okay.
But if you are concerned about that, there's so many small towns and cities that would be so happy to have you there and, like, supporting their economy. I recently went to a town called Tsuchiura in Ibaraki, which is only an hour train ride from Tokyo Station. And I was talking to some of the people there. I interviewed them on my YouTube channel. They were so happy to see like foreigners enjoying their town. And like there's like small noodle shops that they're like worried about like they want tourism there. So like there's places where you are wanted. Go to those places. You'll have a better time, and
Yeah, I would say like 95% of Japanese cities and towns do want more tourists.
Yeah.
And those 5% is like taking like 90% of the tourism. So that's the problem. So like it depends on like what you want to do. But just like, I guess like the best thing you can do as a first time comer is just like to alternate like major spot, this major spot, major spot. That way like you won't get like exhausted, but at the same time you still get to experience the main spots.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
Yeah.
So don't not come.
Don't not come. Yeah. Come.
Yeah. If you have a question for us, send us an email at kotatsuklubbpodcast@gmail.com.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in. As always, I'll see you guys next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.